Today we are going to start a new chapter of geography, that is the Earth's landforms. Chapter number 4 of your book. In this chapter we are going to study about the landform, and we will also learn about different types of landforms of the earth and how are they formed. But before studying about different types, we must know that what a landform actually is. The landform is the physical feature of the earth's surface. As we have already studied in chapter 1, that the physical features include all those things that are created by God on the surface of the earth. Though there are many landforms on the earth, but here we are going to discuss only those that comes under the category of relief physical features. These are mountains, hills, plateaus, plains, and valleys. Before discussing each of these landforms in detail, we must know the reason that result in the form of such landforms. Basically, scientists has defined two processes that can create various types of landforms on the surface of the earth. They have named them as endogenic or endogenous forces, or the other one is exogenous or exogenic forces or movements. The endogenous movements are sudden and usually appear as distortion or dislocation of the earth's crust. On the other hand, the exogenous movements appear in the shape of weathering and erosion. The endogenous process occur beneath the surface of the earth, as you can see in the diagram that these changes take place internally, means these happen internally. Whereas the exogenic forces or processes occur above the surface of the earth. As you can see in the diagram that weathering, erosion, transportation and decomposition of sediments happen above the surface of the earth, means these all take place externally. The endogenous forces or processes, as we have discussed before, that these are internal and sudden processes. So they appear in the form of earthquake, volcanic eruptions, or in the form of the movements of the earth plates. While the exogenic forces or processes are external one, and they may appear in the form of landsliding, floods, tsunami, or cracking of glaciers. This is a continuous wearing down and rebuilding of land surface. This wearing down of the earth's surface is called erosion, while the surface that is built by this process is the process of deposition. But majorly the scientists believe that these landforms are formed through the powerful forces of wind, rain and rivers. Now we shall discuss each of these landforms in detail. As we have discussed in the list, that first of all it comes the mountains. Well, a mountain is a large landform that rises above its surrounding areas. It usually makes a peak or ridge. It is sharper and higher than a hill. And mountains are usually formed through the process of folding or volcanism. Then mountains are usually higher than hills, like they are more higher than 600 meters. Mostly the mountains appear in the form of chain. This chain of mountain is called the mountain range. And I think most of you know that the Earth's highest mountain is in Asia, and it is named as Mount Everest, and exists in Himalayan range. I have told you that usually mountains make a peak or a ridge. So what is a ridge? Actually, ridge is the peak or the long narrow piece of the highland. Next comes the hill. It is also a type of landform that rises above from its surrounding lands. Similarly, the hills are used for settlement and other developmental processes. Hills does not make a steep slope like mountains. They are not sharp enough, and they don't have an edge like mountains. Furthermore, it is less in height than a mountain, and it does not qualify a height above 600 meters. The third leaf land feature is named as plateau. Well, a plateau is a raised flat surfaced landform. Plateau is also known as flat topped mountain. These are the most widespread landforms as they cover 45% of the land of the Earth's surface. The height of the plateau varies from 500 meters to thousands of meters. Similarly, a plateau is generally known as a high plain or tableland. Usually, it is surrounding by steep slopes from one or many sides. Similarly, plateaus, according to the scientists, can be formed due to some sudden occurrences of volcanic magma, or due to the bumps and bulges of lava, or it may appear on the scene through the process of erosion of water and glaciers. The Tibetan Plateau is situated in the southwest region of China, and it is also known as the roof of the world. And its height is 5,000 meters. It also includes 14 mountains in it. The world's highest mountains that are K2 and Mount Everest also exist here. Similarly, the Zhangbao River also runs across the plateau, cuts into a valley. This canyon is the deepest pass or gulf in the world. You will be amazed to know that the Tibetan Plateau is geologically active, and it is still active, and it is continuously rising, and it is gaining a height about 0.1 centimeter per year in height. So after very long years, we will have to see the change in Tibetan Plateau. The other landform is named as plain. A plain is an extensive, nearly leveled stretch of land. It does not rise from anywhere. It doesn't have any change in its height or elevation, and these plain areas are the most populous areas in the world. The famous Indo-Gangetic plain provide a shelter to 1/7 of the world's whole population. The plains are important because the land is fertile and it is suitable for cultivation. Similarly, the plains appear as lowlands among valleys, or they may appear as plateaus, or in the form of flat uplands with no elevation. Next comes the valley. Well, a valley is a long low area of land between the hills and mountains, and valleys are typically existing with a river or stream flowing through it. There are two types of valleys, and the scientists have named them as V-shaped valley and V-shaped valley that usually have stream or rivers which cut steep walled and narrow depression in the land. This makes for look of letter V. So the other one is U-shaped valley, and these are the one valleys. Those are formed due to the erosion of land just because of landsliding of ice and glaciers. Now the exercise time. These are the questions we are supposed to do after studying the chapter.